All right, I'm live.
Okay. So I'll just kind of sneak up here when they're presenting, take photos and light the way.
Your head would be right now.
Okay. I don't know where that's where she told me to take my picture, but she doesn't want me on that side because of older people. And I'll let her over a little more.
You're good right there.
There? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we'll do then.
And I can even move myself over
Okay.
a little bit. So.
Okay. As long as they're good there, I'll know where that blue spot is. As long as those people don't mind. Melly just didn't want me on that side because there's people that are concerned.
Yep.
It's like, well, it's public. I'll just get back from there. You can let that line.
Or what about
Yep.
head on?
And I'm live right now.
That table might be, I don't know.
I'm live right now, so that thing picks up about
Okay.
anything you're talking about.
Sounds good.
This is that
Oh,
one.
I see. Oh, live. Okay, yeah, I got duplicate or extend. Not good.
Just kind of depends if somebody's sitting there. Yeah. That was my good spot, and that's where she told me.
Sorry.
Do what we can.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Do what we can.
Okay, the choices, it says display settings. Is that what we want? Okay, click on display settings. Yeah, it's got brightness and color and rearrange right at the top. Right at the very top it says display, and then right under that it says brightness and color. Does not say rearrange. Selection one, no. Unless it's not detecting. What do you mean by plugged in the wall? Into an outlet? Okay, that's in the wall plate. It's connected, it's right to the right of our, video. Yeah, that's it. Projector's powered on. But is this, do we have to plug into electricity somehow with this converter? It's a cable, yes. I know. Yes.
Have you ever put your own down?
Okay. Just a second, just a second. It says no incorporation. It just, should I go on a scan instead of duplicate? Is it that simple? No?
I think that's. Yeah, I'm connected to my Wi-Fi.
Okay, just a second. She got that off the screen.
It's on a flash drive. Yeah, will you? Have a minute to do that? Okay, perfect, thanks. Michelle. You're down and see it.
They're gonna try something totally different. They got somebody that knows a little more, I think. I'm not sure, but thank you. And I will talk to Father about having you come over and look at this and get this so that we can make it work, okay? Okay. All right, I will talk to Father and then give a call. Okay. Thanks so much for your help. Mike.
The man that has this another, I mean, that's what left in the record.
Okay, so.
And see, this is new since closed the last time. You said it had this battery.
No, but I have it plugged in.
That's the way we do it. High school.
This one, you point to this. I do know that, because that's the one I've always used.
He was saying do computer one, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna, I can't, I gotta go away. I'm going to run down to my office and see if I can have any other reports to go with this.
How long's the course? You plug directly into there?
Well, where was that menu?
That was like your input, you can like, it was like menu. There you go. Back over. Input, menu. There we go. Let's see. Try picture mode. No, that's just the lady. All right, is that advanced menu? Is that on your screen? Put on a network. Right there, wireless setup. There's the man.
it working?
No, that one didn't work, but I'm sure it's somebody.
It's like the literally.
Except plugging directly into that.
I think it should be like, switch phone too. I don't know why it's trying to see what you were, just trying to see what you were. Right. Okay, let's just try and do it. Let me know.
Oh
And I'm like, last resort, Michelle. Okay.
no. And that's the same as the app. It's the same. So Judy, are you computer
I just know help fix a lot of Jess's problems at work.
Yeah.
Like yesterday with the printer, they,
Always on one of those.
yeah, I have to work with 3 different interfaces.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we use it. Yeah, at home I use
Well,
that,
it's
and
changed
then at work
So it's
they're
ours
using
are.
Windows 10 and Windows 7.
Wow.
I know, at work I have like 3 different computers.
I know, like, and then I had to use Windows in like the longest time. And so then when I was starting, I was like, oh my god, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to relearn this.
Yeah, so does this Wi-Fi?
Just gonna check, so they're only different like couple waters, so this is that fine, or I guess I didn't get a chance to ask you about it, but,
Because we're trying to.
Angie, do you know if Mallory's got water or sodas? Water or sodas?
Oh, no.
Do you guys return them?
no, normally they have like the tub, that's your Coke, or, yeah.
Here, I can give you.
We can certainly run it.
You want to grab some?
Yeah, run downtown.
Okay, gotcha.
We could certainly run downtown. Yeah.
Alright, we can go right.
Yeah.
It's like fine.
Here, go ahead.
Yeah.
And there's like 75. Oh, we tried it.
Pretty simple stuff.
table, what, before you go? Connolly. So right here, it's number 11. Yep, read out. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you. Hello. Do you have finding your seat? Enjoy. Hello. Bye. Right up front there. Enjoy.
Tom Green to it with.
Yeah, table 12.
Right here is where we're supposed to be, I guess. What number are we? Oh, sure.
I'm not going to stay here with you, but I'm going to sit down with you for a while.
We're not going to be able to take another step. Okay, we're in with the Greens.
Tell me your name.
I'm a captain. This Dan, this is my brother-in-law.
Is that where you've always been?
I have. He's been more different.
I live in Minnesota.
Oh, you live in Minnesota? Where's your brother from? He's Denver. Denver? Oh, we're supposed to meet another Denver dude. Oh.
St. Cloud.
Pastor there? Oh, you're the bishop? Oh, okay.
So I got about 130 people that tell me that they get to 3 or 4. I don't feel sorry for them at all.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Tessa.
Yeah, we live pretty close. We just moved up, 3 years ago. I have a daughter.
How's that one?
Used to work over in Mormon.
I was responsible for the vacation of campus schools. I brought them
Yeah,
together.
and then we help them out.
We started off by, I was a pastor in the cathedral, put together the junior house from here and there, and then eventually St. Cloud.
Oh, okay. I see. United.
Well, I have a son, and his family is
Toby's dad. You know Toby's dad? He was the chief of police here for
Oh, I know who that is.
years.
do the Denver.
Can I take some pictures?
Sure, no.
Okay.
I'm
Well, it's up to you, either or, so
gonna
however
give
you
you
want.
my audition.
Well, let me give
Yeah, that
my
would be
brother.
great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's how bishop. He's a bishop.
I'll have you come.
Who else are the families coming?
Oh, wait, where's the Greens at? Everybody wait.
We're gonna
for the
wait,
Greens.
okay, well, think
Now,
about
we're not.
Well, I want them to be a picture.
I can get everybody, so we can just take
take a
one
look.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just take one of my photos up right here.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Perfect. Nice, you guys together.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, I should. I know that all the
One of these big ones is
You know who loves these masks, don't you? The burglars. The burglars.
Not really.
The other night I was in the safari. Guys got a big old mask.
Try it again. This is the lady that
You know, they told running. Of course, they got the getaway car outside. I said, don't do the video. They got a mask on. It won't be the car. You can't. No, it was about 3 days before. I was inside the store. All of a sudden, they're going to chase this guy. I said, well, you got him on the video. I don't know. Hopefully, there's nothing for him. He got away. But the getaway car outside the door. They didn't even do You got to a minute and 30 seconds on the other side. I don't know what the guy got paid.
Keep my distance.
I was at it.
Nice to see you, Steve. Thank you. Thanks. Maggie Green would be now she would be to you.
You have to ask Tom, man. I'm just not sure if she's down in Green. I don't know.
She finished in 99.
Oh, just a youngster.
Yeah, I am. So, I'm with the Green.
Talk to you.
Okay.
So that's, football tickets and the tickets for
All right.
Look, Brett, got a good shot. A good picture there.
I do.
Yeah. Now that would be great. Be able to zoom in on the speaker. Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, how many high school?
No, I gotta desert you guys eventually, but I don't like being up there all by myself.
I gotta go up there too, unfortunately. Bishop, I have a question.
No, you're not. How are you related to Maggie?
We are not.
Okay. Who are you're with?
She's a Greek, but she's not our Greek. Oh, she's not your Greek.
Do I need to agree? Talk about getting free.
Okay. So we gotta get some pictures. We gotta find that girl. We gotta find that girl.
They didn't tell me. Oh, okay. Well, I apologize for calling you father. I only knew you when you were father.
That more often than anything.
What do you got? When your father kid.
Had lots.
I went to a Roman too. What year? 82. Oh, another youngster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's finished 64.
Tony was 81 and Logan was 80.
We wanna get some pictures, so.
We do?
Yeah, we do.
Yep, I'll go this direction.
Oh, you just tell us where you want us to
Yep,
be.
I'm gonna go from right this direction, so however you
You
want
want
to
me to
gather.
stay sitting, or you want us to
You
stay?
can, a couple of them probably have to sit. Yeah, then some stand right behind.
You
We'll stand. Come on over here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, you guys should, you
Oh,
wanna
no,
be
we
there?
want everybody.
What's everybody?
Make it look like we have more people.
Let's have a little bit more, there you go. Okay, there we go. Here we go, gentlemen.
Should we, oh, take
Oh,
off the
right, you might
mask?
wanna take your mask off for a
Yeah.
second. Hold your breath. Here we go, one. I'm gonna have you scoot just a little bit more, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, I got it. And then, these photos will go to Mallory, the alumni, and she'll either put it on the alumni page or the piece coming from me.
All right.
Okay? Yeah. Or you can always email it to you.
Now we got a money. We prove we were here.
Yeah, there you go. First everything. He sent a 5-page speech, guys.
Holy
I
smoke.
know exactly.
Holy smoke.
This is Toby. This is Toby. And it's full of eyes. Remember, it's not me saying this, okay?
Can we get a picture of you and your class? Sure. Is that way we can get it taken out?
The ultimate bait switch. You know, they got some guy in the Hall of Fame, and he sends his brother, you know? His sister, I threw out a joke, but she didn't find it very amusing. We were talking about Toby and he was telling her, I can finally beat him up now. She didn't think it was funny at all. I got a ring now.
You boys are from Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, we're North Enders.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Trouble.
My dad got it in 99. Yeah. Yeah, they're not a year, but it was 99 for Dave Green. If you're from the North End, you know Dave Green.
Well, I don't, he must have been quite a bit younger.
He was a graduate in 53.
Oh, no, he's much older than me.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
He lived on Summit. Right around Summit.
Yeah, I think I did his car wash with a snowball. It takes 5 years. Yeah. He was a detective, right?
Yep, and then
Oh, I knew. Yeah, I can do pictures of
well,
hey, he was a police sketch artist.
yeah.
Well, see, because he originally started at the Artist Leader, he was an advertiser. Ads for papers.
Yeah, I worked for the Argus for about all the way through. This was down at 16th Street, most of college.
You deliver papers? Or?
No, I was working, yeah, pretty much. Do you remember Clayton Nance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for him.
Okay.
And I worked for school. I guess our mother and Clayton Nance's wife, they were church plates. So between the cars, it's like,
Well, I didn't go the way because we used to wash cars for the police department and fill cars with gas. So that got us that job. So that was our job. 7 to 10 every night. We stood at the gas station. Yeah. Right over there by Falls Park. It's the cabinets that stick up. Moonlight or
I started with the paper when they were still pictures. We're in second grade kindergarten.
right around the corner. I think the jacket come on.
Well, Bill, somebody should have been knocked down.
Many years has it taken. I mean, come on. It's been about 20 years since I've been trying to bring
We're going down 20 years and
this is the ultimate bait and switch.
Oh, you're going, that's right. You said you moved back here. Living here. Two sisters live here. We have one sister that lives in and one that lives up in Sturgis. Everybody else is north. My kids, we lost our brothers a year
see our table.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
Go stand behind him.
So it's on the YouTube channel. That's
Yep, on our YouTube.
Real presence.
Yep.
Tom, when I'm watching, move over closer. Hi, Rob. Look it out. What's that? Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with this one.
If you have any questions on the whole thing, just
Okay.
reach out to us.
Okay, all right.
Hi, Mom.
There you go.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's all. Party's over. Party's over.
You're allowed.
We're good to go.
You know, Bishop Killer, visit with you because what's interesting when Tom and I were step into the role that we used to have here, we're talking about our philosophy statement that we have. Just philosophy of our school system. He told me, he said, Bishop Kepler is probably the biggest author of all this. And so I used to invite him to and I said, well, I didn't make sure to give credit. I said, I should give credit to Bishop Kepler. So I wanted to tell you that because Tom said he goes, Bishop Kepler was a big one.
It's younger, I wear these pair of pants and brush every day.
Absolutely. Great, I'll let you back.
Because I've worked with my whole life, it seems natural. I had some that burned holes in my mom patched them up, just changed colors. Green and white at St. Mary's, and blue and white at St. Mary's, and brown and white at my claim to fame is I went to the neighborhood high school in Washington High School, South Point, and it was Mormon. So I changed it up. So well, that's all they can take. I had a nun once told me, I gave him the benefit of going there Tuesday, it was not 6 years. But I told her, congratulations. And I was showing DJ that I lived 1 block away from the public school, Eugene Field, but I had to go all the way over to St. Teresa's because we were going to Catholic school. Yeah. We were 14th and Maple. Yeah. And I went to Drake Springs every day in the summer. Get this thing going. They bought a lot. And so he went down there and he says, what do I have to do to get a building? He said, well, get your plan. And so, yeah, Highland plan. It's right here. So anyway, they took a brown paper bag and they drew it out on the still made that. It's to have it. And it's still standing. You left, but I'm on, we live in Colorado, but I'm on the building Board of Adjustment. And so we get people that come in with those kind of plans. Yeah, up on the airport, yeah. You're United Power Festival. Pardon me? You're United Power Festival. United? Oh, yeah. I work for United. I know my territory really well because I serve Commerce City, Brighton, and Fort. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm good. Yep. I always like to tease people that say, well, you live in Commerce City. Yeah. Well, it's really good in town. And And we've only averaged about 300 or 400 new houses, but they keep saying here's another 2,000 houses. They're gonna readjust that town road a little bit, the big area, adjust that substation.
No, they're not.
I get the plans. I'm on the school board. Yeah. One of your. Which Thank you.
My daughter had
Yeah, the hard part's all done. Yeah.
and then she went to PG school.
I try to tell people how lovely the weather is actually out there. It was pretty hot this summer. Your record numbers of 90 degree day. Which is kind of strange. If the snow doesn't stick around, that's why I'm thinking
Yeah, here I am almost 16.
I enjoy it.
What's funny is when I was in Jefferson City, Missouri, the first day it snowed, I got there 2 inches. Yeah. I drove to work. I was the only one to show up because everybody else was like, oh my God, how do you make it? 2 inches of snow. And apparently, when it snows in Missouri, they have government snow day. When you take a vacation, you don't have to come in. You don't have to come in. It's snow day. 2 inches of snow.
Yes, I broke this, and then I broke my elbow. I'm not wearing my slippers. Now I have
We lived in Warner, South Dakota. Thank you. Yeah. Really good seminars. They're only about 4 blocks away from each other. It's kind of. They were German, Russian, or we were. Oh, I see. But we're just having a meeting. We lived in Warner, 4 hours from everything. You know? Just to go to some fall. Now you go to Denver, you can get out of here. Stops in the 72nd, Grammar Center. Just south of the Mile High Flea Market. Pick it up there. Otherwise, there's another one on just further on 1/4. That up to 128. Well, I'm on Highway 7. Yeah, that's about 20 years away. Trust me. My boss is on the MTD board. I already I didn't read that one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Otherwise I would have done it. I didn't know
Should be 30 minutes, but there was a copy of it.
I gotta drive all the way up to How would you do that to yourself? Youngest daughter. Well, you're talking to the boatkeeper. You can't even go out and run over to me. You can only go out and one person inside can run over. Yeah, what do you expect? They're college students, you know, they're going to get back to school.
The security guys,
My daughter goes to the University of Minnesota. Yeah, she just goes all online. It's just basically just make sure you have good internet connection.
And it may not fall.
We did our school district, we went through choice. We averaged about 70% said they wanted to go to school. 35, but then I know. But I got orders from teachers telling me, I signed the test for it, they had the will. I had parents saying, how dare you, what's this young man? Some parents said, why did you get for football? I didn't even play football. Don't let them go to school. High school, one day a week. Middle school, every other day. Oh yeah. I was hoping they would 6 weeks, and then we went off 6 weeks. No, I'll be there. We're in Minnesota.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll have you start taking your seats at your tables. We have our inductees seated up here at our head tables. Inductees, if you just find your seat with the trophy in front, that's where we'll have you sitting for the ceremony, and we'll get lunch started here.
I know. They're all
wound up and it takes a while. You think they're burning energy and they just
Tuesday, and then
ladies and gentlemen, we'll say a prayer at the inside that you get food. I just showed up here and they gave me a job. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Gracious God, we thank you for this day. We give you thanks for all the honorees today and their families. We ask your blessing upon all of them and us. Bless our activities, our schools especially, and keep us all healthy, happy, and safe, Lord. And now I pray that you'll send a blessing upon the food that we share, this time together, and bless all those who prepared this food and this day for us. Bless us, O Lord, and these your gifts, which we are about to receive from thy body through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks.
And the girls, boys is here.
Seems like a lot of work, right? What have any particular hobbies you enjoy doing?
No, that's
That wouldn't be out of question. Just a swap, yeah. What's amazing, there's been little yeah, and you don't, like, I worry more about that.
Maybe they're just
I'm playing one-on-one in your face for a long time. Oh, everybody's waiting each other, and then they're momentarily here, momentarily, it's like, you just haven't, oh, I think yeah, I think
like you said, it's each section, right? You and your wife are doing really great. They're last.
how long you done in Florida? Well,
There's going to be kids. Kids too. And yeah, you just look at the physical activity. I think the great
Obviously, you feel safe when you're a vacation.
We'll get this started if you guys continue to eat, and that won't bother me at all. My name is Steve Peter. I'm the Activities Director at O'Gorman, and I am the MC tonight. And I want to welcome you all here and thank you for coming. This is the 24th Annual Hall of Fame for Cathedral O'Gorman. First Hall of Fame during the COVID era, but I appreciate you guys coming here and you know, finding a spot and taking care of each other, and we really, really appreciate the inductees making the trip down here to be honored tonight. The Hall of Fame, when you're at O'Gorman, or if you haven't been back there for a while, the Hall of Fame is located on the second floor entrance to the Performing Arts Center. So when you walk up to that second floor, you will see the plaques, and that's where all of these inductees will be going after tonight. I think some of you are probably touring that area later on or have before. The Hall of Fame is involved with several areas. Obviously, excellence in athletics, academics, service, arts, and industry. So there's different categories, and there's different groups that picks these inductees. Some alumni, teachers,
you know, several of the priests, every selection committee is a little different. And that's how we ended up with the inductees we have today. In the Athletic Hall of Fame, that's what we're going to start with. You have to have displayed excellence in athletics either while at O'Gorman or Cathedral or after that, and you must have graduated at least 10 years ago if you're a player. So we'll start with athletics, and our first inductee, I can't believe has graduated 10 years ago, is a force to be reckoned with on the tennis court. Earned herself 11 total varsity letters, won 8 state high school titles, including the first flight singles title 3 times. Was named to the state all-tournament team 5 times. She qualified for several United States Tennis Association sectional and national tennis tournaments during her junior career, and was ranked as high as 6th in the northern section. Capping her high school career, she received the Margaret Lynch Award, which is the award for the outstanding O'Gorman High School female athlete, and the South Dakota High School Activities Association Leadership and Outstanding Female Athlete Award as a member of the 98-99 South Dakota Elite 15 class. Please welcome class of 99, Maggie Donahue Green.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Liz and I were sitting there. We couldn't decide who he was talking about because we have a lot of the same accomplishments. And then we also, you'll hear we wrote basically the same speech, which is kind of funny. Wow, what an amazing honor to be up here and with these great other nominees. Thank you so much to the nominating committee and O'Gorman for including me in this group. When I look back at my experience at O'Gorman, I can't help but think that this was just such an amazing community. So supportive, all of my classmates and my teachers, my coaches, my teammates. It just really created an environment where we could all build relationships and thrive and play the sports that we wanted to play. I have a few other people to thank, my parents, my sisters for always pushing me to work harder, Liz, who was kind of always nipping at my heels, pushing me to make sure she didn't beat me, which she did actually end up beating me quite a bit. So thank you so much for this great honor, and congratulations to all your nominees.
Well, thank you, Maggie, and she's right. This is going to sound familiar. Our next inductee is again another tennis star. She followed in her big sister's footsteps, achieved much success, earning 12 varsity letters, winning 6 state titles, including first flight singles 3 times, named to the all-tournament team 6 times. She had 125-1 singles record at O'Gorman. Who was the one? 104-21 doubles record. Qualified for several sectional and national tennis tournaments during her junior career, was ranked #1 in the USDA Northern Section. Achieved a top 60 United States Tennis Association national ranking. Her senior year, she received the Margaret Lynch Award as the Outstanding O'Gorman Female Athlete, and she was the 2001 South Dakota Girls Prep Athlete of the Year. Welcome class of 2002, Liz Donahue Wheeler.
Coach Peter. It's such an honor to be here again. Thank you and congratulations to all the other nominees. This is such great company. And thank you for the nominee. I found out who nominated me just today, so that's just wonderful. And thanks to the organizing committee. This is such a nice event, especially to be able to celebrate us during this time of kind of uncertainty. It's really nice to be able to celebrate. So thanks to Mallory and team and everybody involved with organizing. So. As Maggie said, we have pretty much the same speech because we had a very similar experience and so many wonderful coaches at O'Gorman. The community was just phenomenal. When I reflect back and look back, I have so many coaches and memories and are so appreciative for the opportunity. So a special thanks to our parents. They dedicated so much time and energy to supporting us, Also to my sisters, our sister Erin couldn't make it, but she was a huge influence on both of us, inspiring us to have such a strong work ethic, and we're so appreciative for that role model. And then Maggie, of course, I loved following in her footsteps with some of the sports, and she had a huge impact on my competitive nature, so I appreciate that. So I think what's exciting is now that we are maybe done playing athletics, my husband coaxed me into playing a doubles league with him last summer, a couple summers ago, which was good. But now it's fun to be able to watch these youngsters, our daughters and sons play, which is really exciting and inspiring. So again, thanks so much for the honor, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
So thank you, Liz, and you watch those youngsters play, you can still see everyone, I can tell you that. Next, we're honoring a team that had a terrific run of success. This team, in athletics, looking at the different sports, you'll have dominating teams throughout the years, and this has been the most dominating team in the sport of gymnastics since the sport has started in South Dakota. They won the high school state gymnastics title 4 years in a row. Placed first in every meet except one during that span. They set a state record in team high scoring that still stands today. They took a number of individual titles along the way, including 18 conference titles, 17 region titles, 14 total state titles. State titles are four vault titles, 2 bar titles, 2 beam titles, 3 floor titles, and 3 all-around titles. They also have a total of 14 all-state team members over those 4 years, with state record holders in 2 events today. Please welcome the 2001 to 2005 gymnastics team, and Lana Bauer-White, their coach, is going to speak on their behalf. Lana?
Thank you, Steve. I would like all the gymnasts to please join me up here. We have here today Mallory, Alex, Danielle, Tiffany, and Allie. We have 5 of our 10 gymnasts that were part of this program. You don't have to talk. Feeling a little nervous there. All right, I just want to thank you for recognizing these fine young ladies and gymnasts for all their hard work and dedication during their high school careers, and I'm very honored to speak on their behalf. For this gymnastics team from 2001 to 2005, these girls have had so many great accomplishments over these 4 years. Many of them even competed at the varsity level all 6 years, all the way from junior high to their senior year. I have so many fond memories of this group of girls and during this time, from our Christmas bowling parties to our Rapid City trips to our state meet prom dress fashion show to our limo rides. I truly believe the reason that these girls were so successful is how close this group of girls were. You encouraged each other, but pushed each other even more. The competitions didn't come from other teams. It came from our own team. Every meet you had to bring your best because the best was on our team. The number of individual conference, region, and state titles are incredible. These girls still hold all the records today. 2 of them still hold state title records. And again, they have 14 all-tournament team members during these 4 years. As a team, for those 4 years, they were conference, region, and state champions. They only came in second in 1 meet in 2001-2002. Otherwise, they won every competition that they entered. They still hold the team records in every event and the team scoring. They also hold the state high school scoring record. Okay, the state high school scoring record was reached in 2005, and I believe all of these girls were a part of that team and a part of that record. It was quite interesting because about 5-10 years ago, and it's hard to remember because I've coached for so many years, but there was a team that people thought could beat that record. And I thought, okay, there's no way anybody's going to get close, but I thought I was just going to be quiet and watch. And they were scoring in like the 150s, somewhere around there, and our record was a 152.449. Now I know that sounds super close. 2 points. In basketball, 2 points is close. In gymnastics, when you're scoring that high, 2 points is like 30, 40 points difference. It's incredible. So I don't think there's going to be anyone in the near future that's going to be able to beat that record. And if you remember, back then our JV team could have probably placed 6th in the state tournament. That's how good we were. We had such depth on our team, and we had so many individuals qualified for state that we weren't even able to enter them all. These girls earned so many team and individual awards over the years, but one that I'm most proud of is their academic state varsity award that they earned 4 years in a row. These gymnasts were not only the best in the state, they were also great students who all went on after high school and were successful. Some pursued other sports. We had one gymnast, Alex, who continued, and Sarah Weidler, who is still doing gymnastics at the age of 30, which is quite crazy. But they, seriously, they're all great wives, mothers, nurses, dentists, teachers, managers, chiropractors, and so much more. I am so proud of each and every one of them and this group of girls. You're just amazing. I'd also like to congratulate the parents of these gymnasts. Without you, they wouldn't have been as successful as they were. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, sweat, blood, and tears to be a gymnast. And your parents are the ones who constantly stepped up and made sure you girls were ready and prepared for every competition. Especially Mallory, who continually forgot something on every out trip we went on. We would always ask her if she had everything, and she said yes. And then about halfway through, we heard her calling her mother, and we could hear Connie screaming at her through the phone. And eventually, Connie always pulled through and showed up with what she needed. So, hopefully you guys can all thank your parents for everything that they did for you guys. I'd like to finish by saying once again, thank you for inducting these wonderful gymnasts and these ladies into the Hall of Fame. They truly, truly deserve it. Congratulations. Also, I want to congratulate all of the other nominations that we have here tonight. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Maggie and Liz. I got the honor to coach these two in high school tennis. They were amazing. They ran cross country and they played tennis during the same season and were great students. So I'm very proud of you. And I don't know if you ever knew this, that when I started having children, I have 3 boys. But I had my first son in 97, second one in 2000. If it was a girl, she would have been named Maggie Elizabeth. That's the huge impact that they had on me, so I just wanted them to know that. So congratulations.
Well, thank you, Lana. How many coaches get to coach all these Hall of Famers at the same time? Those girls, you know, my vast knowledge of gymnastics, if you understand gymnastics, perfect score of 10 on an apparatus, to score what they did as a team score means that nearly every girl scored almost a 10 on every apparatus. Sometimes did score a 10. And nobody's going to ever break that record. The records they have in the state have stood and they're going to stand forever. So congratulations, girls. Last but not least, for the Athletic Hall of Fame, we have another very talented young lady who had quite an impressive career in basketball for the Knights. She played varsity girls basketball from 03 to 07. Went on to play for the Augustana Vikings after high school. Quite a few accomplishments there. As a starting point guard for the Knights, she made the All-City team, the All-Conference team her sophomore through senior year, All-State her junior and senior year. She was the Argus Leader top 10, first and second team, was honorable mention for the McDonald's All-American basketball team. She set the school record for most three-pointers in a career at 127, and the most blocks in a game at 7. From the class of 2007, Tessa Wilka Arrecchio.
I'd like to say it's just such an honor to be inducted, and with all these other nominees, it's truly amazing. I'd like to start by thanking my family, especially my dad, who was kind of the first one who started working with me on basketball and really got me to love the sport, was out there playing with me every day. And both my parents, who sacrificed so much time and money sending me to camps, driving me to Minnesota every weekend just for practice. All they did for me, and my brothers also, all of them were always my #1 support system and my #1 fans, so thank you to them. And I'd also like to send a huge thank you to Coach Kohlsrud. He was such an amazing coach to play for. I truly would not have wanted to play for anybody else, and I don't think a lot of high school athletes can genuinely say that all the time. He's just a great person. Later on, I got to coach with him also, and that was another great experience. Just being back in the O'Gorman community is always nice, and I have so many fond memories from high school that all pretty much relate to basketball. It was just the best time, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to play there, and so grateful for this honor here, and thank you to everybody that had a part of it.
Thank you, Tessa, and congratulations to all of you in the field of athletics. We're moving into Distinguished Alumni for Excellence in Service, Arts, Academics, and Industry. These individuals who through their career, volunteer work, and their lives have had a measurable impact. They have reached high achievements through their work, touched the lives of many through their generous volunteerism, and performed at a high level of accomplishment in academics or industry. A judging panel that includes alumni and staff and clergy have carefully read the nominations forms for these awards and have chosen this year's inductees. Our first Distinguished Alumni inductee is a true inspiration. After fighting for his country in the Vietnam War with Army infantry from 70 and 71, he came back to the U.S. and struggled with PTSD, as many veterans have. To help manage his battle with PTSD and depression, he decided to return to Vietnam in 2009 through an organization called Veterans Vietnam Restoration Project, whose mission is to help veterans come to peace with the war and their role in it. Through his experience and with the determination to help improve the lives of those in Vietnam, he created the Bicycles for Education program. Through this program, he raises money to provide bicycles for children in Vietnam that need to get themselves to and from school every day. Most of the children who receive the bikes live in the mountains too far from the school to make that journey by foot. Through his efforts, he has made a tremendous impact in the lives of so many, donating close to 900 bikes to children in need. His generosity in helping these children will have an impact for years to come, as many of these children would not have received an education without the availability of those bicycles provided through Bicycles for Education. Please welcome from the class of 1969, Mark O'Connor.
This is amazing. I've never had an honor like this before, but I'm just humbled to be part of the O'Gorman Alumni Association. And he just took about 90% of my speech. But yes, I've been to Vietnam. I've been across the Pacific Ocean 20 times. And this whole bicycle program started in 2009 when I went there with the VVRP, the Veterans Vietnam Restoration Project. I gave one little girl a bicycle while I was there, and that kind of set things in motion. Then in 2014, I went back, and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, we gave approximately 900 bicycles to these kids that couldn't get to school. I remember 50 years ago today, I was walking through the jungles of Vietnam, and came a long way from there from PTSD, and I'm feeling great. And I have a lot of support from my family. We've got 3 tips full of people in here. And there's so many people that I need to say thank you to for helping me. From the people in Vietnam, there's a lady, her name's Ushi. She got married to a GI over there, David Clark. They work with the school educators up in the mountain, and they come up with all the kids. And when this started, we started at 15 kilometers away from the school. These kids can't walk that far. So we started at 15 kilometers, and over the years we got down to about 8 kilometers away from the school. And then they told us we have to start over because more kids 15 kilometers away. But I'm not sure, I don't think I'm ever going to catch up. But we're going to try. I've got a friend of mine in Cleveland, Ohio that collects money for the kids. He's been over there a couple times with me. Mike Machine. I I have a friend in southern Colorado that he belongs to a organization of veterans. They collect 20 or 30 bicycles every time that I go over there, and he's going to want to go over this next time. Another friend of mine down in Wilmington, North Carolina, Dale Gerstenswater, he's done the Facebook page and the Bicycles for Vietnam education, and I've just had a lot of help. My better half, Jane, she has worked and worked and worked at this. I owe her everything. That's about it. I mean, we're going to continue this as long as I can. The people in Vietnam that I work with, they wish me life to 110.
Well, thank you, Mark. Our next inductee is a Cathedral graduate who has dedicated her life to the service of the poor. Upon graduation from high school on June 5th, 1962, she joined the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul in St. Louis. Since then, she has been serving in many ways as an educator and a principal, a formator of young volunteers in service to the poor, a counselor, as well as a community leader across the 17 states of the Daughters of Charity province. She also acted as an NGO representative of the community at the United Nations in New York City and as an initiator of Interfaith Welcome Coalition in San Antonio. Please welcome from the class of 1961, Sister Patricia Conley.
I'm from the last class at the Cathedral. And then the rest of my family are from the classes at O'Gorman. So we continued our Catholic education down the line from grade 1 on. So my parents' dedication to sending 10 kids to Catholic school. They should be getting prizes. Really, I had to laugh out, Steve, when you talked about, you know, the football program. Remember one of our last years at the Cathedral, I mean, we had a crummy football. I've been around teenagers too long. That's my excuse. Crummy football team all the time. We'd lose like 64-12, or we were lucky we got 12. And I remember the last year we thought for sure we were going to nail this. We're playing Washington. It was always Washington versus Cathedral. We got nailed again, 54-6. And my sister and I came out from the stadium over there, and very loudly said, "Well, we may lose football, but we have the true faith." It was a different era. But as you were saying that, I thought, that's not part of how should I say, what's usually said at football games, because I think O'Gorman has usually done quite well in football in other ways, so I thank you. There's a quote from one of the saints that I have to use often in my life, and the quote is very simple. If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that is enough. And that's what I hear from the different honorees is in those presenting them. So thank you for the giftedness that people have and use for the good of others. So that prayer is well used. My years at the Cathedral were wonderful. The Dominicans were superb teachers. We had wonderful priests coming straight out of the seminary under the direction of a bishop, which always is important. And so in terms of faith, we really did extremely well in being served by the church. But especially by our parents. I have to speak about our parents when I talk about a lived faith and talk about our way into life. Mom and Dad were very simple people in many ways, but not so simple. They were very, very astute. They raised us well. We had probably as much religion at home as we had in school. We did Lenten walks to the Cathedral for the 6:30 Mass every Lent. Now, we know what Lent in Sioux Falls is like. Cold. And then we walk home and get our cordial mush when we go back to school. That was just part of it. Every October and May, We had the rosary together in the family living room. No matter who the smallest one was crawling on top of my dad, we went through with it. And every Sunday, why this mass of all? We always went to the 7:15 mass. And in the cathedral, they saved that pew for us because they knew we were coming. But why 17? I don't know. Or 7:15, I should say. It was amazing. Dad would, every time a new baby would come in the family, we'd get another strange name. You know how this is today. You don't get the same. My dad would say, and what saint would that be? And that's all he needed to say. Mom, when she died, Monsignor Mack, who was also a spiritual director, described her as not painfully pious, but a woman of faith. And anybody that in the cathedral, we have some very pious people there. Mother was not one of them. She would go to the priests and make suggestions for the church, wanted or not wanted. So their faith was alive. It was invested in Vincent Paul Society, the Catholic Daughters, the Knights of Columbus. My dad was in the initiation team, and my mother swore he joined that so he could get out of town on the weekends and have a break. We never challenged that, but I think she was right. And for myself, that psalm we had for the Mass today, 139, is without doubt my favorite. And it says, "Oh, with all my ways you are familiar." And I think in a relationship with God, that's true. A relationship with Him, that His ways become very familiar. They're not ordinary, they're not always predictable, but they are His. And I think that's true of my life, too, at least I try. Right now I'm, I left here at 17 or 18, I think it was, to go to the community. And that was fine. We were fighting Irish, right, over on the north side. And now, at the age of 77, I've been missioned again. And this again to work with young people. But it's on the east side, it's on I can't even name the city, I don't break that often. It's across the river from St. Louis, it's East St. Louis. Very, very Hispanic, very African-American, extremely poor. And I'm going there at the request of the director because the young people 2 years ago came to the director of the center, a wonderful lawyer named Sheila Burton, and said, "We are so tired of seeing people in our neighborhoods, our families, our schools being murdered. We've got to change this." So they worked out a plan with donations, etc., to go to Chicago, of all places, every summer. And this happened over the last 2 summers for training at the Martin Luther King Peace Institute to learn the ways of nonviolence and peace. They have done so well that this year at the school, where they usually had about 250 violent incidents, they had 15. And this is about 20 young African-American boys and girls. So for all that we've seen on the street, what we've done to prepare ourselves for peace. So I'm going to learn from them. I'm kind of a wild Irish woman sometimes, right? And so I'm expecting to learn the ways of peace from these young people. I found throughout my life that I've been part of, my life has been to evangelize with the gospel into the lived experience of people, but I've been so often evangelized by the people I've been with that I feel I should have like an army of people up here who have truly been the people who have influenced my life and influenced my future. And I think of Victor, who I met at the UN, had a terrible, terrible experience with one of the committee meetings. So he called his dad in Venezuela, and the next day as we were going to a meeting, he said to me, "Hey," I said, "How you doing?" And he said, "It was rough." I said, "Okay." He said, "So I called my dad. He's a diplomat in Venezuela." And my dad gave me some pointers. And he said, he paused, and he said, and at the end my dad said to me, "And son, never forget we follow a crucified Lord." Whew, that's hard to hear. Tears in our heart. We both stood there with tears running down our cheeks outside this big meeting room at the UN. I'm sure people wondered what the heck was going on. And they asked, and later on we told. But that has been one of the gifts of my life, is to be evangelized by people, usually the most unusual, the people I would not expect to hear the gospel from. And I'm thinking also of Maylene down in New Orleans, so I taught religion there. Her mother unfortunately had committed suicide when she was in the 8th grade. Her dad worked at Charity Hospital maintenance, and they had 4 children. Not the mother and the dad didn't get things straight in society today. And I was teaching the religion class, and it had the curriculum had about, the different commandments of the church, study mass and during Easter season. And one of the girls just said, I get so tired of all these ways we have to earn faith. And they looked at her, and everybody knew her story. They looked at her, and she said, honey, we don't earn God's love. He just gives it. I don't have to sit in church to know God's ways. I do. I just want to ensure that, But I found so many ways the incarnation or the teachings of Jesus come through his people in a way that so startles me. It's kind of like what I said in the beginning about he knows all my ways. I know a lot of his ways, but let me tell you, he comes along at the most unpredictable moment, evangelizes me and turns me around again and again and again. And just recently in the Walmart parking lot, well, I'd been to Mass, of course, and I stopped by to get stuff for supper. And it was the gospel about Jesus, Peter walking to Jesus on the water. And our wonderful priest, Father Quentin, said, you know, Peter kind of lost the sight of Jesus. And as a result, he started sinking because he realized how precarious the situation he was in. Well, I had just been missioned. And I've been 8 years in New Orleans working a lot with refugees and their families who are trying to go to safety. And I was kind of struggling with the decision to leave. And so I said to the Lord, during Mass, I said, just let me keep my eyes on you, so I make this journey. After all these years of making this journey, I'm still struggling. I still struggle at times. And so as I came out of Walmart, this kind of scruffy little guy about this big, never had seen him before, whatever. He just came up to me. In fact, I've had it in my little prayer book there. And he handed me a card, and all it said was, Jesus. I said, so I'm a slow learner, Lord? Yeah. Finding all these ways to get my attention. Obviously, he does. And so what I bring to you is the gift of having been evangelized over and over and over again in the most unlikely situations by most unlikely people. And that's my claim to fame, is that I'm blessed by people who evangelize me over and over. And so I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for my faith beginnings in my family and also at the cathedral in particular in the Dominican Sisters, deeply so. And so, as I said for that quote before, if the only prayer you ever say is thanks, that's enough, I'm very grateful. Well,
thank you, Sister Conley. And you know, I missed that class in 1961. Would be the last class out of the cathedral. The green and gold of Cathedral became the blue and white of O'Gorman the next year. And as it would be, we're playing Washington today for homecoming. And what we do is whenever we play, some of you know this, some of you don't. Cathedral, as she said, used to play Washington. Cathedral maybe had 300 kids in the high school. Washington had 3,000. They were the only school in Sioux Falls. And they didn't always lose. Cathedral did beat Washington several times. And anyway, we wear the green and gold of Cathedral today when we play Washington, like we do every year, to kind of remember the David and Goliath and remember the struggles and to pay a tribute to the heritage of O'Gorman. So it's really good to hear it from a Cathedral grad. So thank you, sister. Now our next inductee is not an alumni, but attended our schools prior to pursuing his calling to the priesthood. After 8th grade, he left Cathedral to go to Trinity High School, which is a boys' pre-seminary boarding school in Sioux City. After 8 years of seminary schooling, he was ordained a priest in 1970, serving in Sioux Falls and Aberdeen until 2002. He was instrumental in helping form the Catholic school system we now have, and was a beloved clergy for this diocese for a very long time. He was then called to serve as bishop of the Diocese of Fairbanks, Alaska in 2002 by Pope John Paul II. He then was asked to serve as bishop of the Diocese of St. Cloud, Minnesota by Pope Francis in 2013, where he's been serving ever since. Now, after 50 years of priesthood, he's retired and looking forward to ways to practice his ministry. Please help us welcome former student and Sioux Falls Diocesan Clergy Bishop, Donald Kettler.
I recall going to football games with Washington, and the fight song for Washington High School was the Wisconsin fight song, and they would probably play it after every touchdown, so there'd be about 10 times. Since I wasn't a graduate of O'Gorman, I had to bring a proxy, and my brother Jim came over from Denver this morning, and he's a graduate from here, from O'Gorman in '64. So you can tell we're all pretty old. The Catholic schools are so important and necessary for the church, for our world, for our communities. And to me, in order to really have a good Catholic school, you've got to be able to work with Catholic schools together. And so it was my desire from early on as a priest in Sioux Falls that we would try to work together more. And so I remember as rector of the cathedral at St. Joseph Cathedral, the desire that some of us had to work to bring St. Mary's Junior High here and Cathedral, those are the two junior highs that we had in Sioux Falls, to bring them together and work together. And then after that, because I guess we learned how to do that, then we started working on trying to bring all of our schools together. Working together, not competing, getting the best kind of teachers and curriculum that we can get is just such a pleasing thing for me, and that's what I am most grateful for. All those folks that helped us work together to become the Catholic schools, the Bishop O'Gorman Catholic schools. It's important, you know, we had influence, you have had influence on many different areas in the United States because of those efforts. And so we are most grateful, and I am most grateful to you. So thank you for recognizing this, but mostly thank you for noticing that working together in the past and even and especially today is really, really necessary and important. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Bishop Kettler. Last but certainly not least, we recognize an O'Gorman graduate that has dedicated his life to the service of this country. Upon graduation from high school, he received an appointment to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, graduating in 1984. From there, he was commissioned as an officer in the United States Army and started a career in service to the nation encompassing almost 30 years. His military service included assignments with armored cavalry units stationed or deployed in locations across the globe. Among his 40 military awards, he has earned 2 Top Gun honors, Air Assault Badge, Airborne Wings, Combat Action Badge, and the Bronze Star Medal with V Device for Valor. He retired from the Army in 2013 and has since served as a military advisor to the UAE Land Forces. Unfortunately, this inductee could not be here with us today, so accepting the award on his behalf is his brother, Tom Green. From the class of 1980, let's give a big round of applause for Tobin Green.
Thank you, guys. And again, I apologize that my brother couldn't be here. He did send a speech, and if you know my brother, he's an overachiever. He sent a long one. So I'm going to read it. We were all graduates. I graduated in '82. My brother Tony graduated in '81, and Toby graduated in 1980. But here it is, straight from his words. Hello, everyone. It is my sincere wish to be with you today. I had even purchased some new OG duds online so that I would be looking good at the homecoming game tonight. Unfortunately, my recovery from cancer surgery has progressed much slower than I expected, and my wife and I made a difficult decision to remain closer to my doctors as we sort through a variety of issues complicating my return to normal. However, I'm very grateful that my brother Tom and his son DJ, and later today his daughter Tanya, all came to Sioux Falls from Brighton, Colorado, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, to represent me at the alumni events this weekend. There are probably a handful of influences that have shaped the course of my life thus far. Certainly the example and love of my parents would be one of those influences. Meeting my wife Susan was a huge game changer, as was the birth of our two wonderful children. I am very fortunate to have graduated from West Point before dedicating most of my adult life to the profession of arms, and that choice certainly defines me. But underlying all the items above, and arguably the most important influence in my life, has been my Catholic education. Let me briefly explain why I felt that way. My parents both worked full-time, so my brothers and I could attend Little Flower Grade School, St. Mary's Junior High, and O'Gorman High School. My mom and dad believed that faith-based education would give their children an advantage in life. They were right, of course, but more importantly, we also saw my parents were willing to go without some things so that we could have more. Had I not attended O'Gorman, it is highly unlikely I would have ever learned about the United States Military Academy and been encouraged to compete for a nomination there. And had I not gone to West Point, I might not have ever met my wife, who, as we were first introduced at my going away party just a few days before leaving for New York. Interestingly enough, both of his children attended and graduated from West Point too. The academic foundation and my study habits provided by Sioux Falls Catholic Schools enabled my undergraduate success at West Point, as well as my graduate education at Johns Hopkins and Harvard. I told you he was an overachiever. And my work as a college professor back at the United States Military Academy. The value systems and tenets of my faith instilled by my parents and reinforced in Catholic schools had a profound effect on my approach to leadership and service as a career Army officer. My faith taught me that the Army's most precious resource is America's sons and daughters, entrusted to a leader's charge and care. The welfare and self-actualization of soldiers and their families was not just my responsibility, but a necessary precondition for success when we were fighting as a team on the battlefield. My faith, made stronger by a Catholic education, opened my eyes to the possibilities associated with soft elements of power. Catholic values underscored my desire to win hearts and minds in a counterinsurgency environment by complementing the use of force with a heavy emphasis on protecting innocent lives and investing in the population. This belief is why I decided to establish a partnership between my units and the city of Austin, Texas, before we deployed to Iraq. We embedded junior leaders in all facets of Austin city governance in order to develop soldiers with unique skill sets in areas such as law enforcement, rule of law, public health, operating a power grid, and water and sewer systems, education, and elections. This unconventional training produced extraordinary results in Iraq. I watched young men and women in uniform work hand in hand with Iraqis to train police forces, reestablish local courts, restore irrigation of farmlands, refurbish power generation and electrical transfer stations, extend power lines or install generators to support small communities and neighborhoods, and reopen schools and public parks. We also embraced the concept of using money as a weapon to stimulate economic activity and promote public confidence in elected and appointed officials. Units assisted Iraqis in establishing public works councils that would evaluate project nominations and distribute microgrants funded by the U.S. Army in amounts ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $500,000 to citizens and vendors. We fought the enemy by recognizing that providing people with a job, the ability to provide for their families, de-incentivizes them from firing a weapon or planting a roadside bomb. Likewise, a preference for U.S. dollars over bullets makes sense for Americans as well as Iraqis. For example, a $10,000 or even $100,000 project to build a swimming pool or fix a school is a very wise investment when compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical costs for one seriously injured soldier or millions of dollars to repair or replace military equipment. The net result of the approach described above was a drastic 71% reduction in violence across the eastern and northern provinces of Baghdad in just 6 months. A safer environment made possible the departure of coalition units out of Iraqi cities, coupled with the transfer of responsibility for security and population to the Iraqi security forces. When military force was necessary, principles reinforced by a Catholic education reminded us all of the importance and value of human life. Those principles provided a healthy restraint on violence and a preference for military courage and courses of action that protected the population and minimalized collateral damage. After almost 30 years in uniform and 4 combat tours, among my favorite memories are 2 events involving Catholic churches. The first occurred in 1991 as a young company commander when my unit helped repair a Catholic church in Kuwaiti City that had been ravaged by Iraqis invading Republican Guard. The second event came in 2007 when coalition forces in Baghdad helped protect the city's oldest Catholic church, St. George's, from sectarian attacks by Islamic extremists. I share these anecdotes in the hope that you might have a better appreciation for the powerful influence that Christian values can have on how one exercises discretion in the use of force and application of violence within the profession of arms. A Catholic education made me a better Army officer and a moral combatant under the chaos and pressure that comes with warfare and taking life. I could not imagine navigating the complexities of combat without my faith. In closing, please know that I'm thankful to all those who chose to include me among so many distinguished alumni. It is an incredible honor. I am deeply touched and frankly quite surprised. When I think of service that would warrant such recognition, my twin brother Tony, O'Gorman class of 1981, immediately comes to mind. My brother Tony set aside his own serious health problems to help me overcome my own. After intensive pancreatic cancer chemotherapy and surgery proved unsuccessful in 2019, doctors at 2 different cancer centers gave me a life expectancy of 5 to 12 months. Because I did not qualify for any experimental trials, my options were limited. But Tony scoured the country and eventually found a doctor at the Mayo Clinic who specialized in the most difficult pancreatic cancer cases. Tony contacted the doctor and arranged for a case review and a series of tests that eventually resulted in me in becoming one of his patients. That incredible and selfless act by my brother led to an entirely new course of chemotherapy, radiation, and radical surgery that eventually succeeded in getting the cancer. While nothing guaranteed, I look forward to a longer life with family and friends. However, my good fortune came at a cost. As Tony worked tirelessly to save my life, his own health steadily declined. Not 2 weeks after finding me another treatment opportunity with the Mayo Clinic, Tony suffered multiple massive strokes from which he never recovered and eventually claimed his life. My brother prioritized his own well-being over his welfare, and this sacrifice eventually claimed his life. So I am honored to be a part of the distinguished alumni and humbly dedicate this award to his memory. Tony embodies what it means to be truly in the service of others, and I hope to live up to his sacrifice. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom, and those are some powerful words there that I'm glad you read. That concludes today's event, but I think one more round of applause for the inductees of 2020. My thanks goes out to all these inductees and selection committees that have arrived at these selections. There's literally hundreds of names that they have to work through every year to get to this point, and so thanks to those committees and their hard work. And of course, I want to thank the brains of this organization, and that would be the ladies that have set this all up. So if you'd raise your hand, Mallory Adamson, Liz Ostrowski, Amanda Ocho, where's Liz over there? There's Liz. Amanda, Dawn Wheeler, Angie Walker, and Suzanne Gale. Thanks to those ladies that did a lot of work, and we really appreciate it. Now, we're going to want to get some pictures over here by the plaques. Those are the plaques that will go up on the Orang Theater on the 2nd floor. And so when we're done here, if you would group over there, and of course you guys can all take pictures on behalf of the O'Gorman Cathedral Hall of Fame. Thank you to everyone.